right, good morning, Bardstown and Nelson County, and welcome to Bradford and Brooks. I'm Jim Brooks with my co-host Margie Bradford at my side. Good morning, Margie.
Good morning, Jim.
Well, we have another absolutely gorgeous, sunny and warm day here in beautiful downtown Bardstown. It would have been great to pull the microphones out to the sidewalk, I think.
It would have. It'd be even better to find a pool to sit beside.
Well, there you go. That's our next remote.
Absolutely.
Well, Margie, we have we'll get going here on our show. I did want to give a word of thanks to Kenny Fogel and the local American Legions for the Memorial Day service on Monday. This is Kenny's 20th year, and he actually took over from my uncle, Roy Brooks, who had done it since, I think it was 1988 was the first year they had it. It was the year after my father died. And anyway, it's a wonderful tradition that honors our fallen veterans, and I've gone to I've gone to every one, but I've gone to most of them. But anyway, big thanks to Kenny and all the people that support him in the American Legions to make that event happen every.
You can't say thanks enough.
Oh, I know. Candy Massaroni, a state representative, was the guest speaker, and as always, the mayor welcomes everybody. So, Mayor Heaton had an interesting little addendum to add to his welcome comments. He was now you know that some time back there was a movement to rename Fort Benning after General Hal Moore, and they did that this month.
Oh, they did name it after?
They had a ceremony.
Him and his wife both, didn't they?
Yeah, on May 11th or 12th, and the mayor was down at Fort Moore for the ceremony.
Wonderful.
So that was,
maybe we can get them on to talk about that once.
Yeah. Anyway, let's get moving on with our show. Our guest is sitting here looking at me. Our special guest today, and we really appreciate him taking time to join us, is Nelson County Sheriff Ramon Pineiroa. And Raymond, it's good to see you without the blue lights on behind me.
Yes, sir. Thank you all for having me. It's always a pleasure coming and joining you all on the show.
Well, I'll tell you, there's in county government, I've covered county government for years. There's been a lot of moving pieces and a lot of things going on, and including things at the sheriff's office.
That's correct.
The Nelson Fiscal Court has kind of really stepped up its game in support of the sheriff's office, because the sheriff's office, part of the budget for the road patrol and some deputies, it comes from Fiscal Court. And I know you, to quote, you've beaten a dead horse for a while, trying to really bring the pay and everything up for your guys. And things have been changing, haven't they?
Yes, sir. We're very appreciative because for 4 years, I battled what I saw that was not just here in Nelson County, but across the nation. And I was battling for my guys to get a pay raise. And it took 4 years, and it was a hot topic during the election on both sides.
Sure.
To be honest, I was kind of shocked that January 1st, retroactive date on the first fiscal court meeting. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, sorry.
Okay. During the first fiscal court meeting, the court voted on for a $2 pay raise for deputies at the Nelson County Sheriff's Office. So it was a relief, and it was kind of nice to see that support for the guys that go out here and answer the call every day.
Right, and that just from my watching social media, and that's resulted in, I know that I think it was former Deputy Aaron McCubbins returned to the Sheriff's Office.
That's right, and we welcome him home. He left for money, and now he saw that we got a decent pay raise, and we'll get another one in July. And it's going to be, competitive. It's the name of the game nowadays.
Well, that was going to be one of my questions. Do you consider what you all offer in pay and benefits competitive with the market in the area now?
Bardstown was our biggest competitor, and they were, big amount. And now Aaron came back and he lost 8 cents on his pay. So I mean, he gained a large amount of ground, but he came back to us, and there's plenty of opportunity to work overtime, off-duty gigs, and things like that.
Right.
So it means a lot that they're coming back. And he wasn't the only one that applied, So several others that had left have reached out and are looking. So.
Well, that's good news to know you've got interest again.
That's correct.
In returning to the sheriff's office.
That's correct.
Excellent news.
Well, on the crime situation, and I understand from our earlier conversation that it's kind of hitting close to home in your area.
It is. I live on Woodlawn Springs, and the neighbor across the street from me, his vehicle was stolen last night, early this morning, and he wasn't the only victim of the crime spree that these knuckleheads are doing. And I call them knuckleheads because they're really still in a $60,000 vehicle, joyriding, committing more crime, and dumping it off in Louisville or wherever the end of their joyride is that morning. So, we can, again, beat the dead horse, tell people 9 o'clock routine, lock your vehicles, take your valuables out of there, don't leave them visible. But mainly, we don't live in a Bardstown or Nelson County that is 30 years ago where you could leave your keys in the ignition and go in the store, come back out, and your stuff's still there. The crime of opportunity, if you give them the opportunity, these knuckleheads are going to take it. So lock your stuff. And it's basically muscle repetition. You do it once, do it tomorrow, do it the next day, do it a week long, and I guarantee you it's going to carry on. It will help our guys, the city police, and at the end of the day, it's going to help you and your insurance company so they're not paying out large amounts to fix your vehicle or replace it.
And a lot of people think it's okay, it's in their driveway, but I learned a lesson about 30 years ago by just didn't get my car stolen, but had stuff stolen out of my car in my driveway. So it's like you say, it's a crime of opportunity. Somebody comes and tries a handle and they get in it. So I never, even in my driveway, even in the daytime, I lock my car.
And it's really the comfort. You get home, you feel safe at home, but we're not. These knuckleheads don't care. They have no respect, no sense of anything. They're coming out with handguns to your driveway, to your front doors, your garage door, and are checking, door handles, see if they can get anything in. And that's the scary part, is somebody's going to get hurt. A homeowner or a homeowner that comes out with their gun and shoots one of these kids, because that's what they are. They're kids. Right. And who are you going to fault? Can't fault the owner. He's protecting his property and his home. So I mean, it's kind of a double-edged sword. Don't want nothing to happen to people, but you're going to have to take ownership of your actions. And I'm talking to these kids that are coming out here. Some of them are juveniles. Some of them are early 18, 19, 20-year-olds that are coming to our county, and some of them do live here in our county. They just acquaintances with knuckleheads up in Louisville. Right. So.
Well, Margie, I also know what that feels like to walk outside and the car you expect to be sitting out there is gone. I was, as I told you earlier, I was in disbelief that, and it was an old Volkswagen. And I thought, well, who would steal a Volkswagen? Well, leaving the keys in the ignition was, again, an opportunity. Right. So. It showed up over in Boston with all the glass beat out of it. But anyway.
A little hard drive after that, wasn't it?
But Jim, back then, again, when I arrived in Bardstown in '94, you waved, and I'm like, I don't know that person. Why are they waving at me? And my wife would be like, we're just friendly people. We wave at everybody.
Yeah.
And same scenario. You could go anywhere and leave your doors down, your windows down, your doors unlocked, keys in the ignition, and nothing would happen to your vehicle.
Right.
Nothing.
Right.
The new generation, it's the crime of opportunity. They don't want to work. They don't want to do anything but commit crime and steal what you, the hard worker in today's society, leaves out there for them.
Right. What percentage would you say of these young adults and juveniles are from Louisville, the Louisville area? It seems like a lot of the vehicles are recovered out of the county.
I would say a high 90s, 95% of the crimes that are being committed with the stolen vehicle, like my neighbor's truck. With today's technology, we know that the vehicle's in Louisville on 39th Street. It's on the west end of Louisville.
And that's, and you just found that out this morning. Very quickly.
He called me at 8 o'clock. Through our investigation and camera surveillances, they started hitting some houses around 4:30ish, 4 o'clock. So, and it ain't funny, but they hit a house across from one of my deputies. They hit the house across from my house. So I don't know if they're targeting law enforcement, trying to see what they're going to get. But again, they're not going to like the end results eventually. They may get away with it now, tomorrow, the next day, but they're going to catch that vigilante homeowner that's going to be sitting and watching for somebody to come steal their car or try to break in, and the end result might not be what they want.
Well, and I know that Ring-type doorbell cameras have gotten very popular.
Yes.
And we've had one about a year now, and it's marvelous. We don't have a lot of, I live off the road a ways, but it's I always know when UPS shows up or anybody shows up.
High quality videos. It's good because it rings on your phone. It'll tell you what's going on, and it gives you alerts. Like I left my lawnmower outside this morning because they were coming for maintenance, and they picked it up. The camera picked the guy up, sent me an alert, and I looked, and we were good. If not, I'd be going after somebody who's stealing my lawnmower. So,
all right. Well, I guess law enforcement promotes the 9 o'clock routine. What exactly, and that's a habit we all need to get to internalize. What are all the steps you recommend? And I think you covered them earlier too.
Right now, it's getting dark around 9 o'clock, so it's always a good routine. Just get and honk your horn. If you don't, make sure you go outside and make the effort to lock your vehicle. Don't leave valuables visibly, like, for example, on the back seat or on the passenger seat where they can see a computer or whatever the case may be. Guns usually are in a accessible area between the seats. Right. And you're leaving them where they're visible. Get a little towel or something and cover it up. So it makes it harder to conceal or conceal the weapon, making it harder for it to be visible. There's many steps. Lock your house, lock your sheds, anything that you have valuables in. Right now, the crime of opportunity is the vehicles. So we're emphasizing the 9 p.m. routine with the vehicles. Get the key fob, lock your door.
Have you had any reports that this crew that stole your neighbor's truck, hit other vehicles in the area looking for goods or items they could steal?
We had several break-ins out in the county. Glenview was a high traffic area this morning around 4 o'clock. Then they hit Woodlawn. But the biggest thing is that's what they're doing. These kids are on summer break for the ones that go to school.
Right.
The other ones are on summer break all year round. So through our investigation, through the previous cases, some of these kids had been kicked out of schools. So one of them was at Thomas Nelson, so that's how we know, and we can connect the dots between some local kids that either came from Louisville to Thomas Nelson, or they were here and made connections with friends with these local youth. But we were able to identify an adult and 4 juveniles out of a previous case. I can't brag enough on our detectives. They're kicking butt, and most of them are coming in masked up, guns on their waist. If you work at a 5-star, if you work at Circle K, if you work at any convenience store in Nelson County, pay attention to your surroundings. If a kid comes in with a mask on, I don't want to say COVID is over, but it's over. Right. How many people do you see out here wearing masks, and they're coming in, rolling in deep, 3 to 5, 6, 7 people, and they're all wearing masked up and gloves. There's your sign. Call the police. We have coverage. The Bardstown Police has coverage. We'll send out guys, attempt to identify them, see what's going on. We got 3 kids on Saturday, early Sunday morning, going into a convenience store with mask, with a long gun tucked in his waistband. You can see 8 to 10 inches of it.
Oh my gosh!
Out of it,
wow.
And it's like you flaunting it. Like, look at me. So if you see something like that, call us. We'll come out and we'll address the situation. You could possibly be getting ready to get robbed, or they're robbing somebody else. That's what they're going to do.
Right.
And so just be alert, be aware of your surroundings.
Have you had some calls?
We did, and it kind of started with the car break-ins, and then somebody from one of the stores called in and said, hey, these kids were in here on Saturday night, early Sunday. I don't know if they're related to what you all are working, but here's footage. And that's the biggest thing. We also had our camera initiative a while back for investigative purposes, and it's loving. You don't have to report it to us. You don't have to give us your access to it, but all we want is your address so we know that you have cameras to make it easier on us to do the work. This morning, I know that the pool house at Woodlawn Springs has cameras. So at 5 o'clock, here comes that car rolling into my neighbor's driveway, and you can see it because the headlights are popping up. He lives up on the hill. His headlights are flashing up. So we knew at 5 a.m. that's when the vehicle probably dropped off these knuckleheads, and they took his truck.
I know that the Sheriff's Office is also, in addition to this kind of crime of opportunity, you all are working to, I know that Judge Executive Tim Hutchins, drug enforcement and trying to improve efforts at that was very big during his campaign. And from all intents, from what I can observe, he is following through with trying to help the Sheriff's Office in that regard.
The support from the new county judge has been immense. All we can do is ask for something, hopefully that we'll get it. And we are working on a full-time narcotics detective outside of the task force.
Right.
This will be a Fed position, and it's going to work out. Going through the meetings of the overdoses and one in the Narcan machine, opens your eyes to how vulnerable families become because somebody OD'd on fentanyl or other drugs. Now, we have charges, and I believe the city has as well, numerous people with the manslaughter,
Right.
because they were the drug dealer who we could investigate and prove that was the case.
Right.
He got the drugs from a certain individual, and that's why they were charged. Now, there's cases that, yeah, we probably know that this one was a drug dealer, but there's nothing tying them in
Right.
on investigative purposes. The hearsay or whatever the case may be, it's a little harder for us to go up to get a charge on an individual who's a drug dealer just because a family or somebody said that he was selling the drugs. We have to be able to prove and have the element for evidence so we can present it in the court.
Right. But yeah, fiscal court seems to be very supportive of the sheriff's office. Have you all added another officer position that fiscal court's funded?
We have one open.
Okay.
We're trying to do a hiring process. Not that people don't want to come to us, but it's hard to be trying to attract people into law enforcement. And it's not because of the pay. It's not because work environment. It's just today's society. We get the vigilantes with the cell phone, and I'm gonna record you. Where's your body camera? Where's this? Where's that?
Right.
And it just, a lot of people don't want to deal with that. And you try to get a retiree. Well, they have the luxury to say, I'm done with it. I'm just completely finished. So, with that being said, we're still trying to fill that position up, and hopefully in the near future, we'll take a bite and somebody will come in and fill it and get us going.
So you're open to lateral transfers as well as somebody fairly new?
Yes.
Okay.
The only thing that hurts me is hiring somebody brand new to send to the academy, because it would put me a year out before they hit the road. But that may be the case. I mean, if I can't fill it, I'm not going to continue to sit and wait more months to fill a position that I could probably have somebody brand new in the academy in the next 90 days and going through the training. So we'll weigh out our options.
Well, Raymond, it's been interesting. I've had a number of text messages and emails inquiring about the flock cameras, and there seems to be a lot of concern about, violation of somebody's rights or privacy. They are, unless you know what you're looking for, you may not even know it's a camera.
They're license plate readers.
Yeah, license plate readers. They're usually on a pole with a
device.
Yeah. And it captures passing cars' license plates.
Correct.
And can read that information. It goes, and if there's I better let you explain it. I've got my interpretation of it, but it's basically a tool to help law enforcement locate vehicles that have been involved in criminal activity or stolen.
Do we have those?
Yeah, there are some in the county. One on 245, and I don't know. I've seen a couple of them around. I don't remember where.
We do.
Yeah, but I remember a short discussion in fiscal court about some funding. I think maybe grant money.
Are those put in by the county or by the state?
They're put in by the sheriff.
That's the county.
But I know that a friend of mine wrote a proposed ordinance that would put penalties for abuse of this information. But I'm like, well, I don't even know that you have local control of any of the information.
So they're.
But tell us a little bit about.
They're legal. They're license plate readers, and all it is a tool. I don't care where you come, whether you go.
Right.
What I care as your sheriff is to solve crime.
Right.
And this has been a productive tool to help recover stolen vehicles, find missing people, arrest people with warrants, and the list goes on. But all it is a tool that helps law enforcement solve crime. Crime has gone down in the city of New Haven. Crime has gone down in the city of Bloomfield. And I believe that we're keeping crime down in our county. Are we going to stop it all? No. That's not what these cameras are for. But it's a tool that prevents and lowers crime rate in cities. And I think that we have done that. I don't have a percentage. I'm not a percentage type of person.
Right.
But I know that they've been effective. There were a little bit of pain, but once they're up, they're productive.
Right. And well, that was going to be one of my questions. Have they produced fruitful information that's been helpful to investigations?
They have. Prime example, we've recovered roughly about 7 to 10 stolen vehicles.
Wow.
And that is coming from other counties. We just recovered one Saturday, I believe. Stolen Ford Explorer out of Marion County. Sheriff Jimmy Clemens gave us a shout out. I shared it on the page. So the tool is there for that purpose. It's not to track where you're going or invade somebody's privacy. And by the way, we're not invading your privacy. You're on a public road.
Right.
You have no expectation of privacy.
Exactly.
You have to register your vehicle. Your vehicle has a tag. It's a plate.
That's right.
Readable. It's no different than you crossing over into Indiana, and the bridge will read your license plate, and if you don't have the pass, guess what? They mail you a bill.
They sure do.
So it's just a tool, and it's been productive. And you stole my thunder, because I'm going to be going around to the city councils and kind of report a little bit about the flock cameras to them. The city of New Haven, they paid for 3 of them. The city of Bloomfield paid for 4 of them, and it's working. Anytime we get a hit of a stolen vehicle or whatever the case may be, you will see a swarm of deputies going to that area. Why wouldn't you want that? So it's a good tool. I bragged on it when I worked. It was kind of like a campaign trail again, going to the cities, asking. Fairfield's got 2. Bloomfield's got 4. New Haven's got 4, and I, as a sheriff, purchased 4 for the county. And it's basically to prevent and lower the crime rate in our community.
Well, what did you call them? You called them by?
They're flocks. That's the name of
How do you spell it?
Flock.
Okay, flocks. Okay.
Yeah, flock cameras.
Yeah. Now, are these the same? And I was looking at their website, and they promote using these things like in big city apartment complexes to help identify. And I mean, they want to sell it to like private.
You wouldn't believe how many people have approached me to put them in their neighborhoods, to put them at the trailer park. I mean, it's unreal. So we're working on those to upgrade, add more cameras to the fleet. But at the end of the day, it's a tool to lower crime rate and stop knuckleheads coming into our county that are doing
this. Because if they're coming in another car to steal cars, if you get the license plate number.
And at least we can track their routine. If something hit a camera, then we can kind of say, okay, well, they went this way and whatnot. So,
well, I guess the real advantage is that over just a security camera is the license plate reader technology that can match it up with individuals with warrants or stolen vehicles.
It's all whatever we as the holders create the criteria. Like I got missing persons. One was we had a missing person, and we tracked them down all the way down to Florida from hidden cameras.
Is that right?
Yeah. Anybody that has the flock cameras that they share, like an agency, it can't be like Jim Brooks wants a camera and he goes and purchases it. It has to be a law enforcement agency. And that agency has to share access to those cameras with other agencies.
Well, why, that would make sense. Why would you not share that information?
It's a tool. I mean, you got drug traffickers that are not only trafficking within Nelson County, but they're going outside and bringing in lethal drugs to our community.
Right.
So we can, if we're investigating somebody, we can see where they're going.
So you really have quite a few throughout the county. I mean, you said you had 3 for the...
I think we got total between the city and us, we have a total of like 19.
Yeah.
Wow.
So that's pretty big.
Yeah.
That is.
Louisville started with, I think, 25 or 30. Lexington did about the same. And everybody's starting to see that they're productive tools for investigative purposes. And it's, I have other agencies calling me because they know that we have them and that now they can possibly look into see if a crime happened in their community that could have came through here.
Yeah.
We'll look it up for you. We're going to be a team player and assist other agencies and whatever we can.
And speaking of drug enforcement and drug issues, I know you're not a detective, but from your understanding, what's the route that most drugs are coming into Nelson County? Where are they coming through? Is it Louisville, Lexington, or Nashville? I mean, what's the route that?
A little bit of everywhere. At one point, they were coming from the south. At some point, they were coming from Missouri. They would go to the Missouri hub and come across. Now it's coming out west because the main area to get drugs in is California. So they're coming all the way from the west, coming across the states. Back in the 80s, they were dropping the drugs in the ocean, and boaters would go pick up the bags and get the cocaine and just bring it back to shore and distribute Miami, New York, and the Carolinas. So the drug game is evolving and trying to do it however they see fit to transport and do it.
Well, yeah, every time law enforcement picks up on enforcement, they have to try to find a way to evade that.
I've said this, if the people that committed crimes would invest their time and the mind that they have to better themselves other than dealing drugs or committing crimes, man, there's be a high percentage of millionaires, but that's not the case. They want to roll the dice and deal drugs and do the crime of opportunity.
Right. Well, Raymond, let's take a break. We need to get some commercials in. You're listening to Bradford & Brooks and our very special studio guest, Nelson County Sheriff Ramon Pineiroa, and we will be back in just a few minutes. Please stay tuned. All right, you're back with Bradford & Brooks. Jim Brooks and Margie Bradford here this afternoon, or this morning, still morning, for about another 12 minutes. It's a beautiful day here in downtown Bardstown, and looking forward to getting out in that sunshine, Margie, when we get out of here. Our special guest today is Nelson County Sheriff Ramon Pineiroa, and we've been talking about flock cameras, which may not mean anything to you, but if you've wondered what those items next to the road on a thin pole with a solar panel on top, if you've seen those around the county, that's what we've been talking about. And those basically are license plate readers designed to detect vehicles reported stolen or involved in some criminal activity. And according to the sheriff, they've been fruitful in producing good information to help in investigations.
They have. It's been. I kind of bragged on them when I went through each city and requested them, and they're paying off. Of course, it's like anything. You have to learn how to use it,
right,
and be productive at it. You can't pay that kind of money for something just to sit there and not utilize it. We've given it to all our deputies. So when they're on duty, that is, we have a policy. If you misuse it, you'll reap the consequences of it. But the policy is in place to have a procedure. If we do get an alert, we verify that that vehicle is stolen.
Right.
We will pursue it if it runs from us. We already know why you're running. You're in possession of a stolen vehicle.
Right.
So, to the effect of things for investigative purposes, missing people. We had a gentleman missing, I think out of Franklin Police Department, which is in Frankfort. They reported him missing on the May 11th. On the 22nd, he hit one of our cameras. We attempted to locate the vehicle. We were not able to. About 3 days ago, he was spotted and had multiple warrants. He was missing, so we were able to solve that missing persons report. And we let the family know that he was fine. So
right. Very good. Now, this is the same technology that police cruisers are being equipped with as far as license plate reading?
Yes, you have some that will have 3 cameras on a cruiser, and it will basically detect any direction of travel. The cameras will read parked vehicles, moving vehicles, anything that camera picks up.
And this information is used for that purpose only?
Yeah, strategically for that. This is like running a license plate through our dispatch center.
Sure.
We're just getting the alert right away, so.
Right, and with this technology, I guess in the past you had to physically either run the plate on your data terminal in the cruiser or call dispatch to run a plate before you could find out any status on whether it's stolen or whatever.
And we get it immediately. It's within seconds.
So if a policeman stopped a car for a traffic violation, he would know right away. He wouldn't have to go up and ask for.
If it comes through the flock camera.
Yeah. Okay.
If it comes through dispatch, we would have to wait until dispatch gives us the information back.
Okay.
We might get it.
So they're not receiving the information directly from the flock camera.
Dispatch does not. Our deputies do.
Oh, okay.
Anybody that is kind of involved in the system will get a text message to us, and then we'll get alerts. And that way, that's what happened on Saturday. We got alert. We only had 2 deputies out. So I got dressed and went out to Bloomfield. 3 of us were looking for this white Explorer.
Right.
I stopped at Bar Smart, got video. We knew it turned right into and went into Chaplin. And so we started looking on the Chaplin area. We even went all the way to the county line, and on the way back, one of the deputies found it at Blazers, which is the other local convenience store down there. He was at the car wash previously for about 20 minutes and was cleaning the vehicle out, and then, got a recovery, and individual went to jail.
All right. Well, Raymond, I know we're getting down to the wire here. Anything else that this time of the year, really, we really have to think about, like you said, crimes of opportunity. And this, I learned a lesson years ago. My wife and I were I had a '68 Mustang. It was an old Mustang, but I loved the car, and it ran like a scared rabbit. And we were, my wife and I were visiting my parents, and she left her purse in it. We were parked out on the street with the windows down. Of course, this was 1970, something, It might have been 1980. And never thought about it. And so again, our neighbor across the street who called me about my car being stolen, called me and said, Jimmy, a young man on a bike just took a purse out of your Mustang. And so I ran outside when I could run. I ran outside to the car, and I could see him. He was just down at the corner at Stephen Foster. So I hopped in the car and turned around, and I chased that guy, the young man, over across West Stephen Foster on North Center and through there. And he, of course, he could go places I couldn't drive my car. So he was about a block and a half ahead of me. And so he quickly went through the purse and pulled out. My wife had a $20 bill and then dropped the purse and took off running. So I thought, well, we got the purse back and all its contents minus $20. That was a good outcome. Because if I'd called him, I don't know what I would have done.
That was a $20 lesson.
Some of this happened from the car break-ins. They've taken some purses and they try to use the cards, buy Visa cards or buy this or utilize it for gas. Luckily, once that big purchase hit, it declined it and it created a fraud alert on the credit card, so it blocked the card. They dumped the card and the purse out in the parking lot in Shepherdsville found it, called us this morning. So luckily we're communicating with our surrounding agencies.
Right. I really think that really is key to helping solve, because crimes don't just happen within the city limits or the county limits.
Right.
I've said this a long time. The crime don't stop at the county line. And we're on a program called Backups, which gives us authority to go to any county. But you have protocol and things that you have to do.
Right.
Prime example, if you go into another county, you call that sheriff or that law enforcement agency and say, hey, we're investigating this, we're going to be in your area. Good to go. So it gives us a little bit more leadway to go outside of Nelson County to follow up on crimes.
Now, Raymond, we're getting down to the wire here, but if you have like a Ring camera like I do, and you happen to, my Ring camera, it's set off if the wind's blowing hard, and it blows our carpet, our front mat up. But if you happen to have people out checking your car doors, look like they want to steal something, is it safe to assume they're armed?
Yes.
And should you confront them now or not?
In today's day and age, most of these knuckleheads are armed. We've got video where they get out of their car and they're carrying their pistol or their long gun, and I would consider these knuckleheads armed and dangerous.
Okay.
We have a news clip from Erlanger, which is northern Kentucky, where they stole a car and the homeowner, you can hear on the Ring camera, and he's like, hey, car drives off, bow. So they're shooting at the homeowners. So just call us and try to get a description of the vehicles.
Right.
That, of course, you're going to know what it is, but if you see something that they're driving, give us a call so we can be on the lookout for that type of vehicle.
All right. Well, Raymond, that's going to do it for this hour. I appreciate you taking time and talking with us today.
No problem. Thank you all for having me. It's always a pleasure. I kind of told you all I was a little unprepared, but this went pretty smooth.
Well,
we ask a lot of questions.
Yes, you all do.
If it's there, we're going to get it out.
but we support everything you and your guys are doing and appreciate
all the
work you guys do.
The guys care, and when you have that type of mentality in our office, it means the world to me, because some of them don't even live in Nelson County.
Right.
But they come here every day to work and put in the time and bust their butts for our community. And I had one, he tell me, I don't live here, but this is my community. I serve it, so it's true to the game.
All right. Well, that's going to do it for Bradford and Brooks. Margie and I will be back next Wednesday at 11 o'clock. We'll see you then. Until then, have a great week, everybody.
Hometown Radio, WBRT Bardstown, 1320 AM, 97.1 FM, and on 94.9 FM in Lebanon. Playing all the classics from country's legends.